I want to talk about Sister Wives and specifically something that Janelle said across 3 different places and kind of tie it together. The first is a sneak peek that we have from ET. It's an exclusive sneak peek for next week's one-on-one from Janelle. The second moment is also from Janelle, one-on-one interview from last week. And the third is her wedding speech for Maddie's wedding. Okay, so to kind of give some context, this is the clip you've probably already seen going around where she's talking to Suki about her feelings about Kody and Robin. And Suki's really kind of digging in. And Janelle is not freaking out, yelling, stop, 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 or anything. She's just doing her job and answering the question as best as she can, because Suki's trying to really nail down how Janelle feels about Kody and Robin. Because she's like, I don't really want to have a relationship. You know, I'm no longer with Kody. I never really had a close relationship with Robin. And Suki's saying things like, oh, so is it, you don't trust them? You can't have why can't you sit down with them? And she's like, well, I can sit down and I can have like a conversation with them. Like, that's fine. I'm just not buddies with them. Well, what does that mean? Is it because you can't trust them? And finally, Janelle goes, I just don't like them. I don't need to. Okay, so that's coming up. Maybe there'll be more context to that. But then also take into mind, last week she was having a conversation with Suki, and she mentioned that if she had been engaged to Kody longer, they probably wouldn't have gotten married. And I was like, right on, Janelle. But then I started thinking, why do I react so differently when she says it to when Kody says it? When Kody said, I never should have married, it was very like gasp worthy. But I think the difference is that Kody always paints it as he was this victim. He was somehow forced to marry these women, which is one, not what he ever presented to us. And two, he wasn't, he wasn't forced to marry these women. And then additionally, she's not blaming them or Kody. She's not claiming that Kody tricked her into it or any of that. She just kind of says, you know what, maybe if we had dated longer, we wouldn't have married. And it feels like it's a little different conversation than what Kody said. And that's not even taking into account everything else. But when that happened, I was like, wow, has she ever said anything like that? And I just happened to be rewatching an old season, and she actually did allude to this in an earlier season. So when Maddie got married, she gave a speech at the wedding, not the ceremony, what am I thinking of? The reception. And it's a very odd speech because I don't think she's saying what she thinks she's saying. So Janelle seems to be thinking that she's giving this beautiful speech that every married person can relate to. But I found it not very relatable because what she says is, we went through these really terrible times but then we got through it, which is like, okay, that's kind of relatable. But then she said, 3 years in, you're thinking this is horrible. I hate them, but just persevere through. And I thought, I actually don't think that is super crazy relatable, but it gave an insight to her experience with Kody. And Kody in the most recent one said, we had a really tough time before Vegas. And then I remembered in one of the earlier episodes, like the very, very, like one of the maybe episode 1 of the entire show, Janelle talked about how she thought about sometimes just packing up and going. And it kind of made me realize that even though Janelle hasn't complained a lot, she had a really tough marriage and she's just done with this. And she's acting, I feel like Mary's still in a place where she is trying to protect the marriage she used to have. Christine's really mad about the marriage she used to have. And Janelle's just done. She's like, I don't care. It's over. Moved on. Over. So anyway, I wanted to tie those couple moments together. And feel free in the comments to mention other times that Janelle has said stuff that made you realize like, oh, this actually was a lot harder than she's let on.